Hey everyone, hi, hello. I'm Poornima. I'm one of the Android developers with REA Group, and today I'm going to share about Google I/O 23, just a few highlights and things I found interesting. So it doesn't cover everything because in this year's Google I/O, if you all have read about it or heard about it, there were a lot of things announced. Things such as the new Pixel, the foldables, lots of other things with Android and AI. Not going to talk about all of them, just a few things, which I found interesting. So it's subjective. And yeah, okay. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the AI highlights. And I'm just sharing a few things in this. And most of them are not yet available to use. So it's still like a preview from Google. So, you can look forward to this in the coming few weeks. But if I go home and Google them and, you can't use it, don't blame me. Let's blame the Google. So first up is Bard and Palm 2. So if anyone has seen the videos, you'll see that this is all that has been spoken about throughout the keynote and throughout all the sessions. But if you're like me, who is a mobile developer, who sometimes may or may not know a lot of AI things, whose AI knowledge is limited to ChatGPT, you'll be like, what is this? What do they do? So I did a bit of research, and this is my findings. Again, it's not exhaustive, and it could be wrong here and there, but let's ignore that. First up is Palm 2. So Palm 2 is Google's new large language model. It's an improvement on their Palm 1, and it's supposed to have a whole bunch of new features, such as these three things which are on the screen, and lots of applications for this. So I'm just going to talk about the applications right now in the next few slides. But another cool thing about this is it comes in 4 sizes. And the smallest of which is called Gecko, is supposed to be so powerful enough that you can use it for your mobile applications, even on offline mode. So it's supposed to be pretty good. And one of the applications of it is Bard, which I'll come to in a bit. But this is also being used in a whole bunch of other products, such as search and assistance. Next up is Bard. So Bard is Google's version of ChatGPT. If you haven't used Bard before, it's exactly almost that, except this is powered by Google. And I personally quite like this a bit better. I'm not saying it because I'm standing in Google's office. But yeah. So Bard now has a whole bunch of features. First up is image capabilities. So now you can do image searches. You can ask it to generate images and do a lot of cool stuff with images. So an example could be you could ask it to give you a picture of a unicorn eating brunch. I don't know if it works. I'm assuming it works because it's not yet out. But it will soon to be released shortly, hopefully. Next up is coding. So you can, as similar to ChatGPT, in Bard, it is very smart. It can generate code in a lot of languages, such as Python, Java, and even a few older ones. And this is also being used in Google Assistant, Translate, and Search. Previously, there was a waitlist for Bard, as in using the website for Bard, but now that has been lifted and anyone can use it. And except there is a waitlist for the Bard API, which I found out just this morning. So I had to change a few things in my talk, but oh well. But yeah, if you want to use the Bard API in your apps, you would need to sign up for the waitlist. And another thing that they kept highlighting in the keynote, and they were very proud of it, and as a developer, I'm quite happy with it, is that Bard now comes in dark mode. We all love dark mode, so why not? But again, sorry, yeah. Also, most of the content that we see today may or may not have been generated through Bard, because Google I/O had a lot of updates, and looking at the videos overwhelmed me a bit. So I kept going to Bard and be like, can you give me the key highlights of this category in detailed points? It didn't fail, though. And also, if you find that information is incorrect, let's blame Google again. So what is Bard? So again, as I said, this is a ChatGPT version of Google. And here you can see I asked it a quick example of generating a floating action button in Compose. Pretty standard, generates a decent enough code. Same thing you get in ChatGPT. But one of the Bard features was it's working across multi-languages. So I was like, how can I use that? So me being me, I asked it to generate the same code, but also adding comments in Hindi. This is what it generates. It still works, but like, look at the formatting. It's not the best. I mean, I wouldn't want to read it. And with my broken Hindi, I think this kind of says what it says. But then I also asked ChatGPT the same thing to see, hey, which is better? This is what ChatGPT gives me. Better, I can't zoom it in. Can I? No. So it gives me the same code, but better formatting. So +1 for ChatGPT. I did try one more thing, which I'm going to share. So I modified the same question and I asked it to, instead of giving me comments in Hindi and regular comments, I asked it to add a few good dad jokes in it. I just want to say that my jokes are better than that. Next up are the updates to Google Workspace and all their Google product updates. Again, these will be rolled out through the next few months. Most of them are not yet available to anyone. First up is Help Me Organize. So in this, you can see that there is an assistant in your Google Sheets wherein you can add in prompts and that generates content. So for example, in this example, you can see that they're asking you to generate a schedule of a meeting, and it's giving you good boilerplate content, which is pretty good. You don't want to enter a lot of manual data. All these workspace products uses Duet AI, so it's one of the new products. I think Duet AI was already existing, but most of these workspace products are using that. And with this, you can use it to generate your data. It automatically detects your patterns, generates better way of organizing your data. Very cool, especially for people who don't like using slides. Next up is Help Me Visualize. So this again uses Duet AI, but this generates visual prompts. So with a single prompt, you can generate images in your slides and embed them directly over there. So over here in this example, they are generating a giraffe in front of Eiffel Tower. Pretty cool. And you can also select its style. So it has illustration, black and white, other cool artistic styles. Next up is Help Me Write. So this is from Google Docs, but you can enter a prompt over here, and it basically generates a whole bunch of content. One interesting thing is it also comes up with smart chips. So you can easily customize your content in that. So for example, if you're asking you to generate a job description, you can easily add in your company details in it. Another interesting stuff in this is it's supported by over 100 languages, and it also has proofreading. So that's a whole bunch of grammar corrections and setting the tone of your content, basically similar to Grammarly, but just in Google and supported by Google better. This is also used in Gmail. So it's called Help Me Write, again in Gmail, but this is an update from their existing Smart Compose. So in this, you can set the length of your content as well, make it more elaborate, more concise, set the tone, make it more authoritative, more confident, more cool, whatever you want. Again, this is not yet released, so only time will tell. Next up is generating virtual backgrounds to your Google Meet, because I found this really cool, because sometimes you're always looking for funny backgrounds and you spend a lot of time looking at it, or maybe that's just me. But yeah, with this, you're able to easily generate it and also add it to your to your meetings. Next up is immersive view. I hope this place. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So this is basically their updates to Google Maps. So with the help of this, you can visualize every part of your route from start to finish. So this uses computer vision and AI to bind together different street view images as well as aerial images. And it also comes with a time slider, so you can go back and forth in time and have a look at the weather conditions, at the traffic conditions. I mean, I think it'll be pretty useful in Melbourne. You can see when it's raining and decide to find an excuse to not go out somewhere. I'm going to use it pretty much a lot. But it's going to be available only in a few cities, and as usual, Melbourne is not there. So we'll have to wait again. But let's see. Next up is their edits to their Google Photos. So previously, there was Magic Eraser. Now they've come up with Magic Editor. So with the help of this, this uses generative AI, and you can edit the content of your photos and make your photos more picture perfect. So in this one, you can see that they are firstly removing the people in the background, and then removing that person's bag and also moving the person a bit to the left. It's pretty cool, but also really scary, like, what is real, what is not real. You can also generate new content in your images. So in this one, you can see that they're moving the kid and the bench to the right, and the bench is auto-generating itself, and the balloons are auto-completing itself, and you're changing the color of the sky. Really cool for a more technological point of view, but again, what is real, what is not. So, but these are the updates to the Google and Google products. Next up are some Android Studio updates. So again, lots of updates. I'm just going to cover a few. In case you all weren't aware, there are 2 new builds that have been released. One is the Giraffe beta build and the Canary build for Hedgehog, which is pretty cool. You all should download it because I quite like the new UI. It takes a while to get adjusted to it, but it's still pretty cool. And these are just a few of the updates that I'm going to cover in today's talk. There are more. Just Google it. So the first up is a live demo of StudioBot. I'm sure most of you all would have heard what StudioBot is. So I thought I'll give you all a live demo of it. But I think not, because StudioBot is not available in Australia. It's available only in America, unless something has changed in the last 24 hours. I think that. So I was very disappointed because I downloaded the latest version and I was going to do a whole cool live demo. But at least this way, I don't fail with a live demo in front of a live audience. But instead, I'm going to show you all a video, which I got from Google I/O, one of their websites. It's a short one, but it tells us what it is. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk more about StudioBot at this point because I haven't had a chance to play around with it myself. But who knows, when it's released, someone will come and give a talk for this, so attend that one. Right? Okay. Okay, so the next up, the first one I'm going to talk about is Live Edit. So this is, with the help of Live Edit, you can see the changes you make to your Compose UI in real time. And this is through your own device or emulator. So it's supposed to be much faster and less laggier, which is pretty cool. You don't need to rely on the Compose preview, and you can see it with your real data in real time. Next up is the SDK Upgrade Assistant. So with the help of this, you can easily change your target SDK in your app. So you just basically go and click on a button, and it gives you a customized list of changes that you need to make. It also tells you all the major breaking changes in your app and how you can avoid them. So it's supposed to make your life easier. I haven't given this a go myself, but it looks pretty impressive. At least it's a good starting point in getting your upgrades done. To enable this, you need to go to your system, your preferences, tools, and Android SDK Upgrade Assistant. Next up is the Power Profiler. So this basically, it only works for devices Pixel 6 devices and devices running on Android 10 or higher. So you can only see this only for those particular devices. But with the help of this, you can see the power consumption in the phone subsystems. So subsystems include things like camera, calling, GPS, all these other parts of your device. So this is made when recording a system trace via the profiler, and you can visually see how much power each of those components uses. So for example, if you are making a video calling app, with the help of this, you can see which algorithm of yours consumes how much power and make a better app for the users. Next up is the Embedded Layout Inspector. So this is on top of the device mirroring that currently exists on Android Studio. So you can see this for apps on your own device. And with the help of this, you can see a view hierarchy of all the visual components in your app. So again, these are all available only, I should mention this earlier, these are all available only from Android Giraffe. So before that, you won't be able to see it. So that's it for Android Studio updates. Next up are some Android 14 updates. In case you all didn't know, Google's calling it upside down cake, staying in theme with their desserts and making a few of us hungry. So this is their release timeline. So currently it's in the beta release stage of it. And I think by the end of July, early August, it's going to be released to certain Pixel devices in their usual format. And so these are all the changes that I found from the Google Docs. Lots of changes and not enough time to talk about all of them. So I'm just going to talk about a few things that I found interesting. First up is their new screenshot notification API. So with the help of this, apps can now figure out when a user takes a screenshot in a particular activity. So apps can register callbacks on a per activity basis. And while this doesn't give them the actual image of the screenshot, it basically detects the screenshot taken on a combination of specific hardware presses. So as you can see at the bottom, you can show the user a notification. It's pretty easy to implement. I'll just show you how to do that in a bit. But this one obviously will not work for instrumentation tests and things run via the ADB. And yeah. Okay, so this is how it can be implemented. So for this, you need to implement a callback in the on-screen capture function and register that in your on-start and unregister that in your on-start. Very basic, very easy. Google does recommend that if you're doing this, it's better to give the users in-app context notifications to let them know that this sort of notification and service exists, so it doesn't surprise them. Next up is predictive back in-app animations. So this was first introduced in Android 13, and this basically let the users preview the result of their back gesture before completing it, but also only when the back gesture was the home screen. But from Android 14, this is available across all of the apps, all of your screens, and Android basically keeps a record of the destinations in its backstack. So you can create custom animations by using their APIs, and you can create animations for all these three different categories. Next up is regional preferences. So from Android 14, users can now set their preferred temperature, unit, first day of the week, and numbering system. Seems pretty basic, but it seems it took them a while to get to this. So apps can now get the user's preferred units by using these functions, and they can also create a broadcast receiver wherein they can listen to the the user's changes. And you can set this up by going to the system settings and language input. Next up is the share sheet custom actions. So a share sheet is what comes up when you're trying to share any content. When you're sharing your images, your files, this is the sheet that comes up. And custom action it's very small, but it's where the arrow is pointing. So it's basically actions that a user can take to make their journey more easy while sharing your content. So now you can create up to 5 chooser actions. So chooser actions are these custom items. You can give it a name, a title, icon, pending intent, and a few other things. And you can give it up to 5. So with this, you can add in the most preferred sort of journey for the user over there. Okay. Next up is the updates to the photo picker and the partial access to photos and videos. So there's a new permission dialog that Google has introduced. So with the help of this, users can now allow access to only select photos. So this is the new dialog that they will see. And they can, once they select the select photos, they see the photo picker. And this is also a new permission that has been added. So this is the read media visual user selected one. It's available from KitKat and above. And when the user selects the select photos, the photo picker comes up wherein they can select the photos that they want to share. And if your app wants to request for more photos again, they can again call up this service and it'll show them the same dialog. But after a certain period of time, it'll just directly show the photo picker. And this is a quick way how you can handle the different permissions that the users grant. Pretty straightforward. And this is how you can, again, ask a request for more photos. So basically, you can relaunch it and add it to your array. Next up are non-dismissible notifications. So these are the notifications, as the name says, you can't dismiss, users can't dismiss it. So basically, background tasks, when you're recording or doing a screen recording, these are those sort of notifications. And you can set them by being a non-dismissible one by adding these flags. But now, users can dismiss it. Shocker. Um, but yeah, users can dismiss it, but there's still some caveats when they cannot. That's when your phone is locked and when the user selects the clear all notification. But if they specifically go to your specific non-dismissible notification, users can dismiss it now. Next up are full screen intent notifications. So these are notifications that are shown when your phone is locked and it just takes up the whole screen. Example, your alarms, calling apps, things like that. So this was first introduced in Android 11, and app could use that intent to send, any app could use it basically, and you could send it when the phones were locked. But now, only apps providing calling and alarms can use this by default. Other apps now need to set this particular intent because users have the ability to deny the app from sending these sort of notifications. So I don't know if it's very clear, but they can go to the settings and they can manage the full screen notification intents. So which is pretty good because sometimes you don't want to get spammed by these full screen notifications unnecessarily. Next up is the minimum installable target API level version. So for Android 14, it has been increased. You can't install an app with a target version of less than 23. This is because I think there were lots of security updates and restrictions that were introduced in 23, which was not there in 22. So lots of apps try to be sneaky and bypass this. But this is a good restriction where this cannot happen anymore. Next up is the minimum, sorry, my bad. This is just a distribution of the Android versions. I forgot about this image. So yeah, this is the different distributions of where, how many people are using which particular version. Lastly, this is one where previously apps could kill background processes of other apps. So think of your phone cleaner app, optimize your phone, stuff like that, right? So basically you could go there and you can just press one button and all your background tasks could be cleared. So now you can't do that. Apps can only clean their own background processes. And if apps still use this, users won't see any difference and you'll just see errors in your logcat. But yes, this is a pretty good thing because I think a lot of these apps were trying to be shady when they were doing the killing all the app background processes. Phew. Lots of updates, lots of things. I've been talking for quite a bit. Just the other day, a colleague at work, she shared a good video, which basically summarizes all the changes that I've spoken about today, all the changes that have been announced at I/O. So it's going to be a quick video, not as long as me talking, but this basically summarizes everything. Just a second.
AI, generative AI, AI as AI. It uses AI to bring AI. AI.
Yeah, that's it. I've been talking for quite a bit, but these are a few things that I found very interesting. And hopefully it gives you all stuff that you all can go Google later. Thank you.